Am I the a-hole for kicking my brother and his wife out of my mother's funeral? I, female 31, lost my mother 3 weeks ago to cancer. It was devastating to say the least. I've already lost my dad and my older brother, and I was the only one to care for my mother, although I have a younger brother who now lives towns away with his wife and son. The issue started when my brother and his wife were struggling with rent. My mother agreed to let them move into my deceased brother's home under one condition, and that is to not throw away any furniture or try to make changes to the house since they were going to stay temporarily. My brother and wife agreed to this condition. But a month later, my mom started missing my deceased brother's stuff. His stuffs were thrown away. Furniture as well, and my brother's wife changed how the rooms look, claiming the decoration wasn't her style. My mom told them to stop, but my brother's wife got into an argument with her, and when my mom told them to leave, brother's wife spread rumors that my mom kicked her out when she was pregnant. No one knew, not even mom, and turned the family against me and mom. My brother and his wife cut contact. A few months later, my mom reached out, sent letters, and wanted to work it out. But my brother's wife blocked her and called her awful names. She later gave birth to a boy, and we didn't know till we saw a post on Facebook by coincidence. My mom was sick at the time, so she invited them. But sister-in-law refused to let my mom meet her grandbaby. Sent gifts, but were returned later. My mom was devastated knowing she won't see her grandbaby. I tried to talk to my brother, but I too was blocked. My mom passed. That was it. I stopped trying. It was too late. My mom left some fund for her grandbaby and told me to tell him about her when I get the chance. I was shocked to see my brother and his wife arriving to the funeral. I lost it when I saw them. My sister-in-law came to extend her condolences. I got into an argument with her and told them to leave. Sister-in-law said no hard feelings since I'm grieving. But I got mad. I kept yelling at them. My aunt told me to back down, but I insisted. They left, and others agreed with me. But my aunt berated me and said this behavior was disgraceful. She didn't expect this from me and said it was wrong. I feel horrible. My aunt spoke to my brother and she's been trying to get us to meet, but I keep saying no. Now for the top comments. Not an a-hole. Not to be insensitive. They didn't honor her when she was alive, so why are they there to honor her when she's dead? Inheritance? Could also be to save face and try to keep the rest of the family on their side. Not an a-hole. OP, firstly, I am so sorry for what you are going through with losing your mom and having to deal with all this conflict. It is such a crappy position to be in. On the one hand, you have all your grief. Mom's passing, her cancer, and grieving the loss of your brother who is still alive. And the other is filled with your sister-in-law and brother hurting you even more. Your sister-in-law is out of line to say no hard feelings. To hell with her. She wants to be the hero who made amends. No. Not now, not at this time. You only have to deal with her when you feel ready. We had a similar conflict with my dad's passing and funeral. My mom and dad's younger brother got into a physical. I kid you not. Fist fight at the funeral. Opie, speaking from experience and a lot of hurt, please make your mental health a priority now. Take time to breathe after losing your mom. Don't allow people, like your sister-in-law, to manipulate you now to do things you don't want to. Your mom's passing is a separate issue from your sister-in-law and her made-up drama. Don't let them use "this is what mom would have wanted" as leverage to get what they want. They cannot speak on her behalf. All the best, Opie. If you need someone to process this with, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I listen without judgment, as I've been where you are now. It's a horrible place. Not an a-hole. Your brother might be grieving, but he wasn't there for your mom while she was alive. It really hurts her and your family. Not an a-hole. I wouldn't be surprised if sister-in-law only came because she expected to get something. Nevertheless, I wouldn't even mention the money your mother left their son until he reaches 18. Then give it to him personally. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to give my cut of my dad's inheritance? We have a complicated history. My dad wasn't a bad guy, but wasn't necessarily a good guy either. He stepped out on his wife and hooked up with my mom once. She didn't have a clue he was married. Then I, 27 male, was born, but he had no idea. I think I was maybe 6 or 7 when she was able to track him down. So the cheating came out, and they almost divorced, but stayed together, and my dad wanted to be part of my life. He'd come around all the time, take me out, and help my mom with money. For a few years, my dad tried to include me in stuff he'd do with my half-siblings, but they didn't like me, so they bullied me a lot. I met his wife a few times, and she was just nasty and mean. So after that, he stopped trying and went back to us doing our separate thing. But when I was 14, he started pulling back with contact. I think because it was still causing problems in the marriage. And then he just stopped coming around by the time I was 15. We talked sometimes over the years. They got a divorce in the end, but he still never reached out even when I'd try. He died recently and left me a letter apologizing for how he was, and he was too ashamed to try working things out after being out of touch for so long. It also said he knows money can't make up for him not being there, but wants me to have it. I was speechless. He left a small portion for my half-sibs, but in his will, most of his money is to go to me. They're really not happy about it because they say he barely left them with anything, and they're owed that money for all the trouble this caused in their lives. But this money, it could really help with so much, like actually finishing my degree, put a down payment on a decent house, and put the rest in a retirement fund or something. My half-siblings and even their mom are coming down hard and won't stop with the messages because I'm not willing to split what's owed to them since they were his kids too. Don't even want to repeat what they say because it makes me feel horrible. I know they're still mad about the cheating and breaking up the family. This probably feel like another slap in the face to them. It's hard because I want to use this money for my life. But I get that coming into their life as the affair child basically made it fall apart. So I can see why to them it feels like I owe them after everything. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You owe them literally nothing. Opie's dad knew what he was doing. He left them some money so they can't complain about it not being enough unless they show their true colors by whining and being bratty. I don't think they're wrong to be pissed. Their dad cheats on their mom and ultimately they get divorced. And then the cheating dad leaves his inheritance to the kid conceived by dad? That must sting. Opie isn't an a-hole though. It's not their fault. I agree it probably would hurt. But they were financially supported their whole lives, where it sounds like dad only helped with the money for a few years with Opie. I wonder if dad helped the half-siblings with the university or other gifts later in life. This could just be Opie getting his share at the end. Not the a-hole. A will is the will. It's not your fault that he left you the amount he did, and he didn't give more to them. Not the a-hole. Your dad made the decision. The money's yours to do with what you want/wish. They are not entitled or owed anything by you. If anything, this is a karma thing, and the things they did that you probably don't know about is why things ended up the way that they are. Block, ignore, and move on. Sorry for your loss, and good luck. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for excluding my brother's kids from some family events? Context. I come from a large family, and it's considered really normal to help out or ask for help. And we often watch each other's kids, pick things up for each other, run errands, etc. I would describe us as laid back and generally low conflict. If people have an issue with something someone does, we usually address it with them privately so as not to embarrass them. The problem? One of my brothers is married to my sister-in-law, and they have kids, all under the age of 7. Sister-in-law has really specific ideas about parenting and what their kids should be allowed to do. She expects us to abide by her rules when her kids are at other family members' houses with the rest of the cousins. If the rules aren't followed, she doesn't say anything directly, but instead sends an email to the person with clear instructions on what they did wrong. The emails read like something from a boss. This happened a number of times over the years, but an event that happened last fall caused the current issues. During COVID, my mom has been babysitting the kids in our pod during the day and helping them with virtual school. Often there are 5+ kids there at a time. One of sister-in-law's rules is that her kids cannot have any food with dyes in it. No allergies, it is a general health thing. My mom forgot and gave one of her kids a popsicle during the day because everyone else was having one. The child was eating it when sister-in-law picked them up, And while she didn't say anything at the time, it was clear she was upset. My mom then received an email that began, "Per our recent discussion, it was my understanding that you understood that child cannot have food with dyes in it." It then contained bullet points suggesting how she could improve. My mother was really insulted. In addition, sister-in-law carbon copied my dad. He went to their house to speak with them, and sister-in-law apologized for her communication style, but pushed back on the dye thing and wanted an apology from my mom. My mom apologized, but also no longer watches their kids regularly by her own choice. Ever since that happened, everyone is pretty cautious around them and their kids. If we are doing something that might violate her rules, we don't invite them. This is honestly most things we do because the stuff she bans, exposure to any form of violence, refined sugar, dyes, yelling, playground equipment above 5 feet, etc., are not things we have issues with, within reason, with our own kids. Recently, my brother asked me and my other siblings about it, and we were honest. We feel like we are walking on eggshells around them. He says she communicates about serious topics through email because of her anxiety disorder. He defends her behavior's mama bear tendencies and thinks we can slowly help her by being patient. We refused. Are we the a-holes for excluding my nieces/nephews? When we have big family get-togethers again, they will always be invited, but not always for other stuff. Edit. Also, just to say, my sister-in-law is often really fun/pleasant. It is really just a parenting issue that she is so controlling about. We never had issues with her before they had kids. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your brother-in-law is pulling a bait and switch. The issue is not her emails. The issue is her desire to control every single factor in her children's environment because of her anxiety. It's her responsibility to deal with her issues in therapy, and it's not your family's job to help her by being patient. Her husband should be encouraging her to get therapy instead of enabling her. If she has an issue with the food served, she should provide snacks for her children. If she has an issue with the style of play, she should find her own childcare instead of insisting everyone cater to her. Every word of this, she's essentially holding the rest of the family hostage. She's also setting her kids up to go absolutely berserk when they get older. It's well known that overly stifling kids usually leads to a commensurate level of rebellion in the teenage and college years. She may mean well, but she's doing real damage. Not the a-hole. People are entitled to raise their kids how they like, but cannot expect everyone to voluntarily make their lives annoying. Also, a lot of food dyes are natural. Cyanide is all natural too. Not the a-hole. Mama Anxiety Bear needs to go hibernate in cotton wool world because the way she's trying to shelter her kids is unrealistic and will backfire on her one day. I pity these children. Unless you find a coven of other like-minded parents, her kids are going to be incredibly lonely and isolated. Then, when they are finally allowed out into the real world, all hell is going to break loose. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for talking to my parents about getting a lock to keep my brother and his wife from going in my room without permission? So for a little context, I, 21 female, am still having to live at home with my parents due to COVID messing up my plans for moving out. My parents are happy to still have me at home, and I'm okay living with them till I can earn enough money to move out. One of my brothers, 26 male, and his wife, 26 female, tend to visit us a lot, which I don't mind. I enjoy seeing my brother. I love him very dearly. And his wife is a really sweet lady who we all get along with really well. However, my brother has a tendency to just walk into my room, whether I am in there or not. He did this before to pet our older cat, who tended to spend most of her time in my room. And I know he loved that cat, but I also did not appreciate him just barging in without warning. He stopped doing this for a while after our old cat passed away. She will forever be missed. But I recently got 2 new kittens from a rescue because I felt like I needed a new cat to help me heal from the loss of my old cat. It has been amazing, but now my brother's tendency of barging in has gotten worse than it was before. I have repeatedly asked him to not barge in, and that if he wants to enter my room, he needs to ask for permission first and respect my answer if I tell him no. He always says sure or okay, but it is clearly in a very dismissive way. His wife will always follow him after getting an ice cream bar from our freezer and just sit on my bed with him eating. It has been 6 months of this routine by now, and I am sick of it. My room is my space to be on my own and recharge and for privacy, and they continually disrespect that. I got fed up this weekend when I was trying to get ready for a date with my boyfriend, and they just barged into my room to pet the kittens who were in there with me. I asked him to please leave and that I was trying to get ready, and he said that since I'm putting makeup on in the bathroom, why don't I just change in there too? And that he wants to pet the kittens. I gave up, got ready in the bathroom, and once I got home, I talked to my mother about getting a lock or something to put on my door so that they won't just go in, sit on my bed, and eat without my permission anymore. My brother heard about this because my dad, bless his heart, but he is oblivious sometimes, saw no issue saying we were going out to look for a lock when brother asked if we were home. Brother's now saying I'm just overreacting, that I have the kittens in there a lot of the time. They hate being away from me, so they usually follow me in there to sit on my bed and watch me as I'm doing anything in there. And he just wants to pet them. He says I'm being cruel to him and the kittens by not letting him in to pet them whenever he wants, and by apparently depriving the kittens of attention and interactions with people. I am just so sick of him and his wife barging in. But now I am starting to wonder, am I overreacting over this by looking at getting a lock to keep them out? Also, the sister-in-law never is the one who barges in. She usually just follows after brother a few minutes after he barges in himself. Edit. So someone pointed out in the comment that I should add this bit of info. When I am not there, I keep my door cracked open enough for the kittens to enter and leave the room as much as they want. And usually they go hang out with my parents and only go in my room if they need a litter box or a bite of food. I would never dream of forcing my kittens to stay cooped up in my room all alone when I'm not home. And most of the day, I also have my door cracked open for them as well, so that they can come and go as they please. Not Dayhall. He would not need it if just asked permission. He is a huge jerk. It does not matter if the kittens are there or not. It's your room. Put the lock, but also install a little cat door so they can enter and out whenever they want. Edit. Hopefully OP sees this so the kitties can go in and out whenever they want. I have 2 cats, and there's nothing they hate more than a closed door. Not Dayhall. If your brother is so upset about not being able to pet some kittens, he can actually go adopt some himself. Kitten season is here, I believe, and there will always be cats flooding into shelters that could use homes. Why doesn't he go get some fur babies for himself he can pet at home? You deserve your privacy, OP. Hope you get that lock, and you're able to have it after all this. Also, I'm sure those kittens aren't deprived of social attention and affection. Your brother's just wanting to be an a-hole. He has an older adopted cat he got about a month ago. Fat orange boy named Ferd who is super loving and sweet. And he loves that big guy. But I think he misses having playful cats about. I think he's also worried that, since he lives in a trailer at the moment out on a farm, any kittens would not survive out there.